This agent will filter and rank with explanation your leads, whether they are warm, cold, or fire, and send them to the appropriate sales team. The first thing we could do is add a lead submission form. So go here, event form, and we'll just call this lead submission example. And we can say, tell us a little bit about you. So now we can add some form elements here. And what do we want from the people? So we'll say we have the name. So John Smith will require this field. We can add another form submission. What is your email? And we can require this. We can add another submission. We can say your company name. We can require this as well. We can say your website. And we can go ahead and require this as well. We can ask for company size. And finally, we can go ahead and ask their budget. So what is your budget? And we'll require this as well. So we can go ahead and execute the step. So we can go ahead and put some information in. We can say, we can say fill this in. We'll say it's 500. What is our budget? We'll say 6,000. And we will submit this. Now, if we go back to our workflow, we can see that it was inputted. So we have the output over here in schema table JSON. And now we can move on. And next, we can go ahead and add a wait. Just so that we can get the form submission, we can say, wait 2 seconds. We can go ahead and add an AI agent. And for this, we want to define below, you are an expert assistant who will help filter leads. And yes, we do want to add some additional properties. So we can add a system message here. And this is where we can get detailed in terms of giving some direction to the agent to help it understand exactly what we're looking for it to do. So I gave it some direction here, and we can go through to kind of see what we're looking for. I said score the lead from 1 to 10. The higher the score, the more qualified it is. Bucket it, cold, warm, or fire based on the scores, and just give me a short explanation of why you scored it the way you did. I also gave it the qualifications, whether they are cold, warm, or fire. And I also indicated what information we're going to capture in the forms that the model can expect. I gave it evaluation metrics on how we're evaluating this, how to score it, what are we looking for, and I told it to respond only in JSON format. So I gave it the outline of the response, and I also gave it a response example. So we can just make sure that we pull over the variables here. So I'll pull over name, I'll pull over email, company name, website, company size, and budget. So now this is dynamically pulling the information from the form. We will go ahead and add a model, and you can pick whatever model you want. I am going to go with 4.1. You can use anyone, so whatever you're comfortable with, but 4.1 can definitely do this type of work. Next, we'll want to add basic memory. So we'll just go ahead and add simple memory. And in here, we executed the previous node, and we'll move this to define below. We can go ahead and drop in when the form was submitted. And if we click out, if we come back into the agent, we can require a specific output format here because we want it in JSON. In here, we can go ahead and grab the JSON, but let's just clean this up. Sorry about that. And we want to grab an example for the parser. So we'll take our example and come back to the parser and paste it in. So now we can go ahead and execute the workflow. We are executing the workflow, and here we are. We've executed the workflow and we have one item. So if we come in here, we see it scored my submission. It says an 8, not bad. Fire. The lead has a professional company email, company website, 500 people, and a budget of 6,000. These indicate a qualified lead. So now we can go ahead and add a switch node. And what we can do here is route the outputs based on their cold, warm, or fire leads. So we can create some routing rules, and we can just add, if the status is fire, we will rename it fire. If the status is, what do we have, warm, it will reroute to warm. If the status is cold, we will reroute it to cold. And the thing to note here is when we typed it in the JSON, it's lowercase. So you want to be clean here, and it is inputted in lowercase. So now if we execute the step, we see we have an item in the fire bucket. So if we come out, we'll see that on this node, we have a single item. So now we're able to reroute all these leads based on if they're cold, warm, or fire. We'll add another node here, and we can do Airtable, and we will create a record. So for Airtable, you want to make sure you have your access token set up. So how we can do that? If you come to Airtable and you're not signed up, sign up. And in the homepage, if you just come and click on your profile, you'll just click on Builders Hub. After clicking on personal access tokens, you can come in here and create. So we'll just add all the scopes. After adding all the scopes, you can just click add a base, all future and current, and click create token. After creating a token, you'll come here and paste your token in. Here's a quick for the base we set up in Airtable. So we have full name, status, score, email, company name, website, company size, budget, and explanation. This is some of the information that will be populating through NNN. Here in the Airtable node, the API is now connected, so I can go ahead and pull the agency leads from my base, and it will also pull the table. And now what we can do is just fill in the information. So if we go back to the form, we have the name. If we check the switch, we have the status. We just want to drag these over now. We drag the score, we dragged over all of the information from the form and the switch, so now we can execute the step. We'll execute the step, and here we are. So we got the information here. We can go over to Airtable to see if the record was created, and here we are. The record was created. So next, we want to add a Gmail node. So again, we'll do send a message. So again, this is already filtering off with the switch node, so it is a fire lead. So we can go ahead and just say this is sales rep for the fire leads. And we can say new fire lead. Yeah. Okay. And we can go ahead and change the body of the email. So we can change this to an expression, and we can go ahead and type in the email that we want to send to our closer. So I just typed up an email to Alex. Hello, Alex. We have a fire lead who looks like they qualified for our offer. I put a little information about the lead here, and I said deals, deals, deals. So now this email automatically gets sent to Alex, who is our closer. So if we come back out, we can see execute step. So I should receive an email in my inbox. So if I go check my inbox, I should see the email there. Here in my inbox, we can see that the email was sent to me based on the message we put into the send email node on N8N. So here's what our hypothetical closer, Alex, would receive. They'd get all the contact information and all the information they need to close the deal. If we come back out here, one of the things we could do is we could add another Gmail node, and it could be send a message. So what we can actually do is automate messages to the lead from here. So for example, if we had a calendar attachment or self-schedule an appointment or whatever your use case may be, you can, from this node, just send an email to lead and you can create a chain of sending follow-ups to the lead. That's not the kind of business we run here. We call our leads, so I'm not going to add the node, but it just shows you some of the customization that you can add into your flow. To recap the agent we just built, we took a form submission, which in this case we used leads. We ran it through an agent, which we gave it some parameters in terms of what we're looking for, how to rank the leads that we have coming in. We added a structured output parser just to make sure that we're getting the output from the agent in the format that we want. We added a switch to classify these as cold, warm, or fire. And we were able to create records in our base in Airtable and send a message to our sales closer, Alex. You can also send a message to the lead and follow up with them. But again, you can see you can branch off every single lead bucket, cold, warm, fire. And if you just think about the time you get back by setting this up, it took us however long to set up here. And now it's just automated. It's always working in the background. This just saves you so much time. So I hope you found it useful, and I'll see you in the next one.